recording. I just got kicked out from this Facebook Live, so I'm trying again. I love technology. I'm so grateful for technology. I'm so grateful for this ability to connect with people from all over the world. I'm so grateful for the internet. It allows me to have a business even in this crazy time. So thank you, technology. You are not perfect, but I'm grateful for you. Yeah, so I was talking about the summit that I just did yesterday, the funding and financing in the age of COVID-19 virtual summit. So I started that summit because I sincerely believe, and so did everybody that was speaking yesterday, as I had 4 amazing experts in different parts of the financial world come in to talk. Plus, 2.5 weeks ago, I did another summit with 12 amazing women, and pretty much we're all in agreement that even though this is a time of crisis and a lot of people will be hurting financially, this is also a time of incredible opportunity. There's going to be more opportunity in real estate than ever. It's a little early, but very soon it's going to be like fire sale time. There are going to be amazing, amazing opportunities, and people who have access to capital, who have access to money, so that they can purchase, will be purchasing. Like this is the time when the most real estate millionaires will be made, for those who have the education and resources on hand to be able to take advantage of that. It's like the yin yang. For every seller that's going to be selling at a deep discount, there's a buyer that's getting a great deal. And I want to empower you to be that buyer. And it's not that we're taking advantage of people. There are actually people that have a problem. They'll have this huge debt, or you might be able to help them keep from foreclosure. There are opportunities to be of service while also benefiting. But it's going to take money. It doesn't necessarily take your money, which is why I created the summit. I wanted you to know, how do you tap into OPM, other people's money, in order to invest in real estate? Or you're the OPM, you're the person who is able to give your money so that, and make your money work while somebody else is doing all the work. You're just passively there. Your money is going off and then coming back with friends through this vehicle, real estate. So I brought in 4 experts yesterday, part because I wanted the answers to what's going on with financing. From the outside, I was seeing I was like, wow, there are all these changes and a lot of things are happening that's surprising me. But I wasn't quite sure what. So I had questions. I knew y'all had questions. And so I brought them in to answer that. And I learned a lot. I've been receiving feedback that this was like incredibly valuable. So I'm super grateful to all of the speakers that came and presented and added so much value. I wanted to share my top 4 takeaways. And for those of you who were able to be there, then I'd love if you put in the chat like what you got out of it, what your top 1 or 2 takeaways were from the day. During our happy hour at the end of the day, we had some people were sharing their favorite frames. I'd love it if you shared your takeaways. And I'll share the 4. I can't share all the takeaways. I mean, we met from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's a lot, so much, but I'm going to share the top 4. I did a brain dump last night. So I just want to share with you some of the big things that I got out of it. Let's see. I'm going to write down. So the first one is that, despite what some people think, there is still plenty of money out there. And actually the government is encouraging borrowing. That's why the Fed rate dropped to 0. However, Not everybody gets that money. You have to be a good borrower, a good like borrowing case. So we did talk a little bit about like how to set yourself up to be a good borrower, but there is money. There's money in conventional loans. There's money in hard money. There's money as business credit. There's money, there's a lot in private money. I did a whole webinar, that's a bonus on that. And there's even more money you can tap into through your retirement accounts without penalty. So there's a lot of money that you can tap into in order to take advantage of all these opportunities. So if anybody's telling you like you can't get money, that's not true. Although there are certain sources that have dried up or are drying up, and it's harder. So we did talk about that. But when you know where to look, there is money to invest in real estate, and there are a lot of people that want to give you money so that you can grow it, and then they can grow it too. So it's win-win. They're lending you money, so they make a profit, and then you get to make a profit. So that's the first takeaway. There's a lot of money out there. I know I left feeling really hopeful, and I think a lot of the participants did too. They're like, oh, there's so much opportunity out there, which is what I wanted you to get out of this. The last summit, the Survive and Thrive Summit, like there's so many opportunities that are coming. And this one is like, oh, there's opportunities for money. And it doesn't have to be mine, and I can do it. And there's someone who's like, I'm unemployed. Can I get money? Yes. Other people like, well, I don't have, can I get money? It's like, yes, there's money. So that's the first thing. The second takeaway was though that certain sources of money have dried up, or it's a lot harder. So, one of the things that I was surprised I didn't realize, because I'm thinking, okay, the government's giving so much money out, like everything that's like government money, like the FHA, the VAs, like the rural loans, like all of that. It's like, oh, like money, the government's giving so much money, so those must be like easy to get. And like, no, actually those are getting harder to get at, because those like 3.5% down or zero money down or all that loan is like more risky. They're more risky loans, so they're actually harder to get, and those are drying up. I was surprised by that. I did not expect that to be the case. I thought, oh, the government's giving money. No. So one of the things that I got from yesterday was just like the different areas that are harder to get. You can still get money, you just have to know which avenue to go to. So like which path to take in order so that you are the borrower that can access capital. So that was my second takeaway. So yes, there is money. Yay, first takeaway. Second takeaway, not every path. So some paths are closed. Some doors are closed or closing, or they're much, much more narrow. But other ones are open depending on how you situate yourself as a borrower. Okay. That was my third takeaway. There are specific ways to situate yourself as a borrower so that banks will increase the money they give to you. Right. So I hadn't thought about that, but there really is not just your credit score. Your credit score is one factor, but not even the most important factor. There are a lot of other factors that they look at that will make you a better credit risk or less or a worse credit risk. And it's not necessarily your income, and it's not your credit score, which is what everybody thinks. There are other factors. So how do you set yourself up as a borrower that wants that institution or even a private money lender will want to lend to? So that was a big takeaway. It's like, oh man, like it's not the things that you're taught to think about, not necessarily that important. So you need to know what is important so you can set yourself up to access this capital. And the fourth takeaway that I got, which was like there were several people that were like, watch out for this one, asking for forbearance. Right, so this is part of the CARES Act. Like you can ask for forbearance from your institution, almost like no questions asked. You don't even have to prove that you need a forbearance. You just ask for forbearance, and a lot of people are just going, okay, yeah, so I don't have to pay for a few months. I just want to have some extra cash on hand. So I'm going to call the bank. I'm going to ask for forbearance. So I don't have to pay. And then, part of it is like, it's not going to ding your credit score. And so people are like, oh, there's no repercussion to that. I'm just going to ask for it. I'm just going to do it. And what I learned yesterday was that it does not ding your credit score. But as I just said, there are other ways to show yourself as a good borrower worthy of lending to. That is a big way to show the banks that you are a terrible borrower, not worthy of any money. So even though it's not in the credit score, it is in your credit profile. And it is a big, big, huge red flag. So if you ask for forbearance, you are possibly keeping yourself from getting any money for 2 to 4 years. 2 to 4 years. So watch out. Big, that was like one of those like danger, don't ask for forbearance unless you really, 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 really need it. So that was like a huge thing that I got. I didn't realize. I was like, oh snap, like that's really bad. I didn't realize it was that, like, and I wasn't trying to ask for any, but it's like, okay, well, that's a tool, but understand, like, if you tap into that, that is like poison pill. Like, that's his last thing you want to do. Last, like, that's like your last, like, if you are like grasping for air, like you otherwise would gonna die, then you do it. Otherwise, there's any way you can keep paying, pay. So that was a huge one. And then on the flip side, for any of you guys who are out there renting, it's not like, and people are going, oh, well, they're not going to evict me, so I don't have to pay rent. So it's that same thinking, like, just because I can get away with not paying, then I won't. So we can't evict you, like, as landlords, you can't be evicted now. But as soon as it's possible, do you think you're gonna, like, the landlord's gonna want to keep you as a tenant? Personally, no. Right? Like, if you talk to us as landlords and you say, this is what's going on, I lost my job, this is what I'm doing to work, like, yeah, if you're being responsible. But for people who haven't lost their job, they can pay, and they just choose not to, as soon as it's possible to replace you as a tenant, you will be replaced as a tenant. I'm just letting you know. So it's the same thing with, like, the forbearance. The institutions are going, okay, I mean, they're not going to cancel your loan, but it's really going to preclude you from getting other types of financing. And you're going to want to have access to financing because of so much opportunity. One of the things I said, my first take of the video is that, I was recently interviewing a woman on my podcast who's like, she's so proud of being a debt-free investor. She buys all cash. That fuels her sense of security. She likes to have all cash. That's her big thing. She's like Dave Ramsey. She just buys properties all cash, right? When I ask, on the show, I always ask, like, what is your biggest mistake? Like, what did you learn from it? Even this person was like, so proud of all cash. When we first met, in real life at a conference, and I was like, this would be great. Let's go on the show and have a conversation. Cause I'm like, no, I think leverage is awesome for real estate. You can go you can really scale and you go so much further. She was like, no, I like all cash. And she was like, no, all cash, just all cash. When I asked her what was her biggest mistake, she said, my biggest mistake, and she's like, you're going to laugh because I'm all about all cash. She's like, but my biggest mistake was that in 2008, 2009, I didn't use leverage. I didn't use any debt to buy. So she bought a little bit because things were on sale, but she ran out of her own cash. And so she couldn't have, like, there were so many opportunities. She couldn't take advantage of them because she didn't want to borrow. And so I probably should consider an email and say, what are you going to do right now? Are you going to leverage? Are you willing to do that? Or are you still going to stick with your all cash at this time? It'll be interesting to see what she says, but that she felt like was a big mistake. And I think, I'm like, my bias is definitely leverage, be able to tap into OPM so you can go a lot further. And so this is the opportunity, but you have to really set yourself up the right way and know which avenues to go towards. So those were my big takeaways. And if you were there, I'd love to hear what your takeaways were. Put them in the chat, and let's see who's here. I see that we have Jonane and Maria. Hi, everybody. So those are my big takeaways. And so just like, thanks for watching. If you missed yesterday and you still can access all the recordings, just go to www.tinyurl.com/REIG-summit. tinyurl.com/REIG-summit. And that'll take you to the landing page, and you can access. And if you register, then you'll receive access to all the recordings and everything, so that you can get all this good valuable info if that will be of value to you. Anyway, I hope you are well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, and talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.